In accordance with 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia, I move that the Franklin City School Board enter into a closed session to discuss and evaluate matters related to new hires and supplemental employment pursuant to VA Code Section 2.23711A1.
I have an item of discussion. I would like to make a motion that we add the agenda discussion and evaluation of personnel, specifically the superintendent. If this can't be done in open session, I would like to return to closed session at the end of open session.
So is that a motion to amend the agenda?
Yes, please.
We still have the first motion that we haven't had a second on.
That's the one to enter in closed session, Bob?
Yes.
Before we enter in closed session, according to Robert's rules, we were supposed to ask the question of discussion. Then we enter closed session, just in case anyone wants to amend the agenda.
Okay, we can have a motion and then a second and then vote to do whatever we want.
Thank you very much.
I second his motion. His motion.
One by one, like we should be doing, one by one, not in unison?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd
Aye.
just like a clarification. I didn't quite understand what the motion was.
The motion is to add to the agenda the discussion and evaluation of personnel, specifically the superintendent. If it can't be done in open session, I would like to return to closed session at the end of open session.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
So again, the question, you're requesting to amend the agenda to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor? Well, we need someone to second that. Who seconds his motion?
I second it.
May we have the vote?
Aye.
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 Motion passed. We will have that discussion in closed session. I also have a motion to amend the agenda to discuss having public comments in the beginning, not in the later part of our sessions, and also for the public to be able to sign up in the back to speak during citizens' time without having to call in to the assistant, Ms. Beata. Do I have a second for that motion?
I second it.
Yes, Ken, I'm asking to vote on changing citizens' time to the beginning instead of the end, and no longer will they have to call. They just need to sign up in the back on the day of. And John, do I have a second for the motion?
Yes, ma'am. I second it.
The vote?
Well, let's discuss that. That's a policy change, and we would have to change the policy, which normally requires a reading and then a vote.
Okay, so we will do that in closed session, or we will do that now?
We'll do that tonight as a recommendation, but we can't vote on it until the next board meeting.
Because it's a policy change, but it's our policy, it's not a state policy, is it?
That's correct.
Okay, so why can't we vote, discuss it tonight and vote on it tonight? This is our policy, not a state policy.
Because board members need time to research it.
That's why we're taking a vote. So, all in favor of reviewing and researching it tonight, say aye.
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 So moved. We will review that, discuss that, and vote on that tonight. In accordance with 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia, I now move that the Franklin City School Board enter into closed session to discuss and evaluate matters related to new hires, supplemental employment pursuant to Code Virginia Section 2.2-3711. All in favor?
I
May I have a second?
I second.
Now the vote.
Aye.
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 Good evening. The closed session has concluded. We're now returning to open session, and I would like to entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
I move that the school board, having been in closed session pursuant to a proper motion, come out of closed session.
I second.
Can we have the vote? John?
Aye.
Kent?
Aye.
LaShonda?
Aye.
Aye.
Bob? Reed? Aye. Roll call. Ms. Beata?
Good evening, everybody. Ms. Bailey,
Present.
Ms. Parker,
Present.
Ms. Boone, Mr. Grant,
Here.
Dr. Harrison,
Here.
Mr. Holt,
Present.
and Mr. Osbrook.
Here.
Dr. Carter,
Here.
thank you.
Certification of the board.
Whereas the Franklin City School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712. Of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, and now therefore be it resolved that the Franklin City School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
I second it.
Vote. John?
I agree.
Kent?
Aye.
LaShonda?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Wadia Bailey? Yes. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us all stand. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motions from closed session?
I move that we approve the personnel agenda as presented.
Second.
Oh,
Let's have the vote. John?
Aye.
Kent?
Aye.
LaShonda?
aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Wadia? Yes. Motion carries.
I have another motion that we move citizens' time to the beginning of the meeting and change the sign up to 10 minutes before the meeting by signing up.
I second it.
Excuse me. I'd like to make a correction to that, Mr. Hope. So, motion to review the policy to change citizens' time?
No, motion to change citizens' time.
Motion to change citizens' time?
Yes. And it has been seconded, right?
I seconded it.
Let's have the vote. Mr. Osbrook?
Yes.
Grant?
Aye.
Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Holt?
Aye.
Dr. Reed?
Yes.
Wadia Bailey, yes. Citizens' time is now in the beginning of the meeting, not at the end. You do not have to call in anymore. Just sign in 10 minutes prior. A sheet will be provided in the back. Motion carried.
I have a motion. I want to make a motion that we continue the discussion and evaluation of personnel, specifically the superintendent, at our next meeting,
Doing closed session.
and our closed session.
I second.
Let us have the vote. Mr. Osbrook?
Aye.
Kent?
Aye.
Ms. Parker,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Dr. Reed,
Yes.
Wydea Bailey, yes. Motion carried. Approval of the agenda, Bob? 4.1? Okay. You ready for certification? Superintendent's report?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Mr. Warren was our parent advisory representative, and he was supposed to speak today, but because closed session ran over, he had to go. So we'll reschedule. He could not wait. He had to go to work. So I'm going to move on to Ms. Tompkins.
Good evening, Vice Chair Bailey and the school board, Dr. Carter, and all those assembled here. I will be presenting the updated data from the Virginia School Performance Support Framework Summary. Next slide, please. As we all are aware from previous presentations, the Virginia School Board the Virginia Department of Education has changed how it ranks schools, rates their performance. And now we are under a school performance support framework. Now there are performance categories that outline how well students are performing academically. And it's based on a 100-point scale. For those schools that have 90 points or above are considered distinguished. Those between 80 and 89 are on track. 65 to 79 are off track. And those who have a score of below 65 are considered schools needing intensive support. Next slide. So, each school in the state of Virginia receives 4 designations. They receive an accreditation status, a performance category, a framework score, and a federal identification. For the 25-26 school year, SP Morton is considered a fully accredited school, which is based on standards of quality, not performance. Performance category is needs intensive support. These are schools that have an identification of needing some extra support in certain categories. For SP Morton, those areas are reading and math. So their framework score was 64.8. Their federal identification is Comprehensive Support and Improvement, or CSI school, which they also were a CSI school last year for reading and math. Franklin High School's accreditation status is conditionally accredited. It means that one or more SOQ, or standards of quality, markers was not met. We are working with the Virginia Department of Education to determine which one of those markers was not met. The performance category for Franklin High School is needs intensive support. Although their framework score is 79.2, because they have a federal identification, they are not considered an off-track school. If you have a federal identification, you go one level below in your identification. So that is why Franklin High School is a needs intensive support school. They are now a federally identified target support and improvement school based on performance of students with disabilities. Next slide, please. So here for SP Morton, we're talking about the all students category, that is how your performance score is gathered. we have out of remember, we're doing 100 points or 100%. So the reading performance based on all of the data that is gathered for SP Morton, we're at 72.3 out of 100%. In math performance, we're at 57.8 out of 100. Science performance is 88.6. Reading growth is 64.9, and math growth was 44.7. Next slide. For Franklin High School, the reading performance is 79.7, math was at 71.7, science at 86.4, and reading growth was at 69.0, and math growth was at 58.3. And remember, for the high school, the only courses that receive growth are students in 7th and 8th grade in reading and math.
Ms. Tompkins,
Yes.
for each school, does this represent the percentages of passing in each category, or does it represent something else?
It does not represent the percentage of passing. What it represents is all of the scores that were gathered in that particular category. So even students who failed get a point based on, because you remember you get a 1.25 for advanced, 1 point for standard, 0.75, and then a 0.25, I believe. I don't have that in front of me, but after they put all of those scores in, that is how you get your percentage for this performance category.
I did have a follow-up, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Is there any way that you could please pull up and show the school summary report for both schools from the VDOE currently?
Sure, I can do that, but it won't be at this meeting. I'm not prepared for that.
Okay, it is public knowledge.
Yes,
Yes,
I mean, it is on the Virginia Department of Education's website, but I don't have that as part of my presentation. I'd be more than happy to provide that.
I would love to see that.
Sure. Any questions before I move on to the next part? Okay, the next slide, please. So for advanced coursework, this represents students in middle school who've taken Algebra 1, and so all of the students who are in this category passed the end of course assessment. Next slide.
Just a quick question. How many students were in that
I am not,
category?
I don't have that exact number in front of me, but I can give it to you. Okay, next slide, please. So currently, we have some SOL scores that are back. Right now, the only SOL that students have taken is the writing exam. We will do SOL testing when we return from the holiday break. But right now, we stand at 50%, and this is fall testing only without retests. So we expect that this particular area will increase when we have our retests, as well as those who will take this assessment in the spring. But that, as you can see, with the combined rate for the past 3 years, we are higher than all of those areas for the past 3 years. So we feel that we are going to increase in that particular area. Next slide, please.
Quick question.
Any questions?
There was definitely improvement, I mean, based off of the chart that we're looking at.
Sure.
But would you still rate that 50% as like a positive attribute as far as overall? Meaning, is that something that you could say, hey, you know, I would be happy if my student body stayed at that 50%?
Of course not.
Could you speak to any targeted interventions that y'all plan to work into the daily curriculum of the schools?
Yes, well, we already have after school every Tuesday and Thursday for high school students. And any student who needs support, whether they're in grades, we have Enrichment Fridays, of course, but for the high school specifically, we have after-school tutoring in all 4 core areas every Tuesday, every Thursday. and any student who needs to participate in that, they're targeted by the school. We have a sheet of where they were, how they're making progress, and how to prepare them for the next assessment. So students do have access to after-school programs.
And do you believe there is high-quality instruction going on in each classroom in regards to this data?
Do I believe? I believe that in some classes it's high quality instruction, but not enough. And that's what we're having to work on. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Dr. Ricks?
All right, good evening, everyone. And I'm going to discuss, we broke it in parts, so I'll be discussing the readiness component, which a lot of components fall under student services. Next slide, go to the next one. All right, so far as attendance for readiness and chronic absenteeism, elementary has one category, and that's chronic absenteeism. And the percentage that we have there is 75.2 of SP Morton students attended school on a regular basis. As you can see, the attendance breakdown in the report, missed less than that 10% is that 75.2. Missed 10% or more is that 24.7, in which when they're missing 10% or more, that can affect their academic growth, and that's stated in the student's report. So we still have that percentage to continue to work with as far as SP Morton. And that is the only category where we have a readiness indicator for the elementary school. Next slide. Next slide. All right, so Franklin High School, there are several readiness categories. The first one is chronic absenteeism, and we have 78.3% of FHS students who attended school regularly. Again, if you look at that breakdown there, you see the 10% that missed less than 10% was that 78.3. Missed 10% or more is that 21.6. Readiness additional indicators, as you can see the categories and the indicators listed there, and percentage of FHS students. Advanced coursework, that's 100% of the FHS 7th and 8th graders who were eligible to take high school math courses completed the course with a passing score. The 4-year graduation indicator, we have there 79.76 of FHS students graduated with an advanced or standard diploma. The 6-year federal graduation indicator, the score there is 87.65 of FHS students graduated with either advanced, standard, or applied studies diploma. As far as our CTE category, that's when we kind of tap into the enrollment, employment, and enlistment for the class of 2025. And 92.6% of FHS students graduated with credentials ready for the military, which means they took the ASVAB test, or workforce, which means if they took a CTE course such as culinary, they completed culinary 1, 2, and the industry certification, and or they may have graduated with an associate's degree from Camp Community College. So they can have more than one category, or they at least had one, and that was 92.6% of the senior class of 25.
Quick question, ask the same question. Is there a number, like, was it 100 students, 120 students, 50 students that was in the last one, enrollment, employment, and enlistment?
Right, that goes back to the point system. So it does not necessarily mean that 100 kids necessarily got all 3 categories. One kid could have gotten 1 and gotten a point for that. Another kid could have gotten 3, all 3. So we had some students that get the associate's degree, passed the ASVAB, and the workforce, but they at least had 1 in that category.
Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. In regards to attendance audits, how often is it done per building, and how often is the district doing it? And are we utilizing things like, we're a power school, to do log entries instead of just relying solely on Parent Square to do our 3-day, 5-day, and 10-day letters? Are we actually logging the entries in regards to the audit, so building principals and central office staff can see that we are checking in with parents and different guardians in regards to attendance?
Yes, we have a truancy, the process of overflow chart. We have daily logs when they come in, even if they come in the building late in the morning. We have meetings scheduled after the 3 days they receive a notice. By the 5th day, there's a meeting attendance plan scheduled where the truancy officer schedule with the parents and come in and put interventions in place at that 5th day. So that we have biweekly meetings for attendance. One of the categories that we have also added is that we have monthly added a specific audit from central office where we bring in everyone to look at the data, because what we've noticed is that we had to submit some changes, some corrections to the state, but we wanted to make sure that the students that are receiving like homebound services and home-based services are not being counted in the chronic absenteeism. So when we saw that need, that's when we added another intervention to have those specific central office meetings to address those concerns and monitor them as a team.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate you explaining that, but I'm more interested, is the building principals doing weekly attendance audits in regards to the students?
Each building we have an elementary and a secondary attendance meeting per building. So either the principal attend those meetings or they have the designee, which is assistant principal, to attend those meetings. So those meetings are held with the truancy officer, the principal or designee building administrator, the family engagement specialist, and also Western Tidewater now has joined those meetings as well. So those are biweekly meetings that are held. So it's not weekly, it is a biweekly meeting that's held at each school. And we started that last year, to implement those biweekly attendance meetings. Okay, and this is just some additional information that we wanted to share with our cohorts. From cohorts 22 to 25, this was the percentage of students that was dropouts. Our dropout data for class of 2022 was 12.6. Dropout data for class of 2023 was 4.9. Dropout data for class of 2024 was 8.6. Dropout data for class of 2025 was 3.5. And as Franklin City Public Schools class of 2025 dropout average is less than the state average, which is 5.1. And I can say that the student service team really worked together with the building administrators and the family to find kids and make sure that they were enrolled in a particular educational program. So that's how we have really made those gains with the dropout rate. Any additional questions? Okay. The first slide. That's the last slide. Scroll up. Go back one, the first slide. Okay. At this time, I'm going to also give a update on the vape detectors report, and this kind of goes with the discipline, as we have tremendously had issues with vaping through the division. So I have with me Mr. Grizzard. Mr. Grizzard is joining me in presentation tonight. Mr. Michael Grizzard is our lead security officer, and he's going to go over some of the trends that we've been seeing and how, just going over some of the data trends and some perspectives that he shared as leading the security team with the vape detectors and things like that. And then I'll discuss the interventions and supports that we kind of have in place. Mr. Grizzard.
Good evening, everyone. Y'all know I'm Michael Grizzard, lead security for the district. I'm based out of J.P. King Elementary. Last year, for my own benefit, I started tracking the vape alerts, which bathrooms they came from, just more to figure out where we need to deploy people. During that time, I also decided to come up with a monthly average. And as you can see from last year, this is our 24-25, I started in December. As far as vaping, we were averaging, a high of 54 and a low of 20 per day. You got smoking pretty much non-existent. We had no marijuana alerts, averaging 11 tamper alerts, and masking events. That was per day of last year for each month. If you can go to the next slide. This year it has dropped dramatically. I started the first of the school year, vapes at 13 per day. Our high and low, pretty much good. This month, I just compiled December's numbers, 4. And they're mainly vaping and tampering. We have no smoking, THC, or masking events.
Just a quick question.
Yes,
Why all of a sudden the high THC in November? Do we have any indication why?
November?
That's interesting that it's 9 where every other month was 0.
that I couldn't tell you.
Something go on
It just-
sale or something like that? Kids are,
No. It just, the kids. I mean, you take what you get. Some days I'll leave, for example, one of my High Point bathrooms, which is the gym hall. We have a men's and women's. There were days I was getting 15, 20, 25, 30 alerts, then the next day I wouldn't get any. And a lot of that depends on where we place our students, well, our teachers or anybody working. So that day might not have any there. The kids will meander down into the VOTEC hallway and I'll see an increase there. So that's why it varies. I track it day by day. Then the handout that y'all were just given, it was a brief rundown on how the system works, plus a copy of the email alerts that we get. And that email alert gives me location, date, and time. Now, I keep getting asked, how do we catch the students? That's hard. Most of our schools have communal restrooms. So during class change, lunch, and when the buses are picking up and dropping off, you've got tons of students going in and out. I track them, but I don't pull cameras to try to catch them because you're not going to do it. You're going to pull your hair out your head. I tell my staff that work under me, the other security officers, focus on the in-between times when class is in session. There shouldn't be kids on the hallway, so if you get an alert during class, you can use the information given in the email alert to determine which camera to pull up. You can see who goes in and out. I would much rather pull 2 or 3 students to search them than to try to do 50 or 60. You're just a losing battle. And we only focus, these numbers come from school hours. After school, when we have guests, like doing basketball games, I would look at them, but I don't register and record them because it's not our staff, it's not our students sometimes, it's the guests. And that would give us false indication. This is our 7 to 3:30 school day, is where these numbers come from. And like I said, we've had a significant decrease in them, and that's contributing to a few things. I'd like to say my staff are getting better at it. And the kids are learning, don't play. We're going to get you eventually. You have any questions?
Before Mr. Grizzard sits down, I'd like to announce that he was elected to the Southampton County School Board effective January 1, and we're proud of you, Mr. Grizzard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll try to do both divisions proud because I love it here and I love it there. I am a graduate of Southampton, but I've got grandkids in both schools, so I've got a vested interest in Franklin and Southampton. But I'd like to see them both do good because at one time we were both top-tier schools. And I see both of them going back up.
Thank you.
The next slide. Thank you once again, Mr. Grizzard. Mr. Grizzard has been definitely an asset to the team. And just some interventions and things that we have in place, I do want to address that. Of course, we have to make strides, to get those type of results. We currently have 2 security officers at FHS. We have 1 at the Alternative Education Program, and we also have 1 at SP Morton. And grant funds help support that initiative. We also have added Western Tidewater Youth Substance Abuse Program, which is a 10-week program. We really educate parents and students on how kids can now even have a vape in the room, in the ceiling, in the light bulb, and the parents not know. So we do have kids that are enrolled in those two 10-week programs that receive referrals that receive a written referral if they caught with a vape. We have a more intensive program, youth intensive outpatient program, it's called YOP, and substance use prevention education program that is off campus but is offered here in the city of Franklin, and that is a 6-week program. And that program is geared towards kids that have shown a pattern of vaping issues. So we recommend them for that program. We also continue to have the social emotional lessons with the school counselors in grades K through 8 to just educate them on making proper decisions. We have Clear Choice 1 reset program, which is our alternative to suspension, where students must complete a vape lesson through Everfi. That's a platform that's online. And we also schedule re-entry meetings when they return to school with the dean of students. So that's the current interventions we have in place. Any
Dr.
questions?
Do you find that Ms. B, can you go back for me one slide, please? Thank you, ma'am. Do you find with the interventions and things that there is a great improvement in it overall when you all sit down, well, when the staff sits down with the students, and like which one do you think is probably one of the most effective?
I think right now I can say with the numbers declining, definitely having those additional security officers being available and monitoring, I think that really helped this year. I also think now when we meet with Western Tidewater monthly, and we started this program in October, we had to work with some timing to change it, kind of build it into right at the end of the day, especially with the Clear Choice program. And then we had to set another class at the high school that just, where they can enroll in. So we had to set multiple programs and work with the outside agency for the Youth Intense Outpatient Program, and also Western Tidewater. So I think the collaboration and the teamwork and just monitoring it together, we've been able to see results, get the results that we see now. But of course, it's still more work to do, because now we see when we receive a vape, if there is THC in the vape, we give it to the resource officer so they can determine those things, and then we address that by assigning them to one of these programs.
Could you speak to the social and emotional lessons that the school counselors are addressing, but also why we have not mentioned PE or health teachers are not addressing this either? Why is that not up here?
Well, that's curriculum and instruction, so Ms. Thompson had to speak to physical education, but I'm student services, so I'm over the school counselors. So with the social and emotional lessons, last year, I ensured that the school counselors, it was part of the master schedule where they are to add classes that deals with social emotional issues that's going on. So in those attendance meetings that I was telling you about, the school counselors must attend and also look at the discipline trends to be able to say, if I'm seeing multiple fights at kindergarten, then those social emotional lessons need to be geared around how do I keep my hands, feet, and other objects and things to myself. So whatever pattern they're seeing, they're required to submit school lesson plans to deal with those behavior patterns and things like that. So the social emotional learning lessons can vary, and that's mandatory for K through 8. It's not mandatory through 9 through 12, because at 9 through 12 the counselor kind of deals with different categories, and it may be more small group interventions and support.
And it is documented that they are doing it.
Yes, it is documented. It is part of the master schedule. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ricks. Ms. Morrison.
Ms. Bailey, school board, and community members, good evening.
Good evening.
So it was mentioned at the last school board meeting that it might be useful to have a comparative analysis, comparing it to prior years. So I'm going to present that tonight. This is our operating fund. It encompasses general fund and grant funds. Before I do that, I want to mention that the book balances and the bank balances are distinctly different groups of numbers. The book balances are audited financial statements that outside auditors have audited in compliance with Governmental Accounting Standards Board standards. The bank balances are simply when the disbursements and the income hits the bank. So we will discuss both of those tonight. Now for the book balances, these are our book balances. The first column you will see is fiscal year 2024 audited. That is July of 23 through June of 24. And you can see we had 21 million in revenue and 20 million in expenditures. So we increased our fund balance that year by 655,000. We already had a fund balance of 891,000, which means our ending fund balance for general and grants would be 1.5 million. Now the next column is fiscal year 25, July 24 to June 25, but it is unaudited, meaning that this is what we have in our system today, and the audit could result in correcting entries being made that would change these numbers. But as we have it right now, we have 935,000 more expenditures for fiscal year 25 than we do revenues. And that, whatever that number comes out to be after the audit, will be netted against the ending fund balance from the year before of 1.5 million. Really until the city's books are reconciled with the school's books, and the city and the schools both have their fiscal year 25 audit, that is when we will know exactly what the results are for fiscal year 25. And my understanding is the city is going to file an extension of time to complete their audit through March 31st. So therefore, the school's audit will be delayed also by that same time frame.
So just looking at that, I mean, the biggest thing, it looks like we put $1 million more in transportation. Is there a reason why? I mean, it was from
Because we got a grant for clean school buses, and we purchased 3 electric buses.
Okay, so that's where that came out to be, okay. The other question there is your operation and maintenance was up by nearly 700,000. Is that what we had to do at JPK with the plumbing? Do we know why that was another major increase?
It was capital needs, and also when looking at facilities, that was the major roof renovation.
Sure.
Tracy, this is reading a little different. Usually negatives are highlighted in red and different colors. How come it's all, the format has changed?
This is just the comma format with no decimals, and it just naturally puts in parentheses an unfavorable variance.
I know, but usually it's highlighted in a different color, like the negative would be in red. There was, it's reading completely different. Why the change, or who made that change?
I just didn't put any red on it.
Oh, okay. Can we go back to the old system because it's just reading really different, and it might be easier for the community and everybody to see it, the old format where this was in red and this was highlighted differently, so we know the numbers are sticking out what we need to see.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So this is the fiscal year 24 and 25 actual results. And then on the next slide, I'm going to add in our current year, which is also unaudited results for November 30th. And you can see that we still have not collected as much as our budget for state funding. And the governor's budget came out this week, and it will be a revision to the current year's budget, as well as the initial budget for years 27-28 biennium. And it is subject to General Assembly approval, and the forecast will be much better this spring once the General Assembly approves the fiscal year 26 budget. Until then, state funding could go up, it could go down, depending on a number of factors. So so far this year, we've had 667,000 on our books more than revenues. But again, we have not recorded, because the fiscal year 25 audit has not taken place for the city or the schools, we were not able to bring forward our existing grant balances into our current year's budget as yet. So we will be getting a budget increase from that. and we will be getting better forecasting of the state funding later this spring.
So right now, we are in a negative.
The book balances are, as soon as we do a purchase order, we get an expenditure. So that, yes, we are 667,000 behind. The bank balances, which I'll get into, are totally different. They're distinctly different.
Again, can we start showing us back the way we used to in the red? It's all reading the same.
Yes, ma'am. So I will be starting to put red for the unfavorable variances.
Can you help me why 21, I'm just looking at our total revenue, 21 to 25 and down to 20 for our budget. Looking at where that's coming from, was that, I mean, it looks like city appropriation was very similar. We lost nearly 3 million federal funding. Was there a purpose for that? Do we know why? I'm just looking at the
We lost $3 million
budget.
in federal funding? Well, we were finishing spending down our ESSER, CARES Act money. So I would think that the money would go down, but also, as I stated, because we have not recorded our budget for the existing grants yet. Okay. Back to the slide on nutrition, slide 4. Nope, back up. There we go, right here. So our nutrition fund is a separate and distinct fund that covers its own expenditures. And we had a good year in '24 with them as well. We have a good year in '25 pending any audit adjustments. And so our fund balance is going to be 417,000 plus the positive impacts from year 25 and year 26. And that lines up with what their bank balance has averaged as well. Next slide.
So why
please.
are we maintaining a positivity on that? I mean, does that just keep adding up? Can that not be spent in other areas? I assume not, because it's for nutrition. Could we buy better food for our kids? I mean, if we've got that extra money, why are we not giving them fresh fruits and vegetables instead of the processed foods we're given? Could we get a better contract? I mean, why are we holding on to that money?
Well, we have an RFP out, and with our current vendor, it lasts through June. And the Virginia Department of Education requires that cafeteria funds maintain no more than a certain level of fund balance. So our nutrition department is actually on a plan to spend down to the level that VDOE expects us to be. So we're in process of doing that now. We're evaluating all kinds of options for that, and that is a good suggestion.
You want to add to it, Dr. Walters?
Sure, Dr. Harrison. So with the nutrition funds, they have to be completely self-sustaining. So the salaries and benefits of our employees in the cafeteria have to be covered by these balances. Any capital work, their equipment, servicing their equipment, all of those funds have to be charged to this account. In terms of the meal choices, Mr. Evans is constantly looking for innovative meals for students to make sure that they have choices that are healthy and choices that they enjoy. So we'll continue to work to make sure that we're offering those opportunities to students.
So Mr. Evans is looking at other alternative and choices to make to improve the things Dr. Harris just spoke on, Dr. Reed spoke on.
We're constantly looking for opportunities to have meals that students are excited to eat. And we want them to eat nutritious meals while they're with us at school, breakfast and lunch. And so we're taking a look at how we might be able to improve that moving forward. I'd love to be able to share some progress on where we are with that in the future board meeting.
That'd be good. I just came from a VSB conference, and they had several new vendors. LaShonda, you were there as well. Very new vendors who were all about nutrition and delicious food. They had samplings of it. They've worked with many school systems, some in this area. So he might want to get with us, and we look at some of that. And it would improve our current situation greatly. Thank you.
Another little point there. Do we have students on that committee?
Oh, we absolutely do. In our first student committee, superintendent advisory committee, we put down pros and cons, and several of the students said the cafeteria food was good. And they're going to be here in January, and you'll be able to hear from them yourselves.
I just had to ask you real quick before you sat down. I'm so sorry. You said we were looking at several opportunities. Can you speak to any of those opportunities right now?
So Mr. Evans is pulling together information to share with you on how we go through. I think primarily we're looking at this through the finance lens. Different vendors, of course, charge different amounts. And so we do have our procurement policy that is specific to nutrition that was brought before the board last year. So we're working through that process in procuring vendors to offer, like I said, nutritious fruits, fresh fruits. We have different options through USDA. So I'll include that in a future presentation.
Dr. Walters, while you're up, the repair for SP Morton's boiler, was that $6,000 or thereabouts?
I believe the quote that we have for that is greater than 6,000, if I'm remembering correctly. So, again, we're working to maintain facilities with no capital budget. So everything that we're doing is coming out of our operating budget. We have old infrastructure, and the maintenance team is doing their absolute best to maintain what we have. Right now at the elementary school, we are down one component in the boiler, so the boiler is operating at about 50% capacity. It is still maintaining set points. It's just stressing the system to meet those set points. So we're continuing to work with vendors to try to get prices on what that component piece is. And my lens is always, does it make more sense to repair what we have, or is it more financially prudent to purchase a new unit? So we're still working on collecting information on that as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next slide, please. Let's talk about textbooks. So in '24, we had an ending fund balance of $172,000. Pending any audit adjustments for fiscal year '25, we will be able to add to that fund balance. And in November, we have purchased 43,000 worth of textbooks so far this year, and the revenue for that is not here because it gets recorded at year end. It comes through our general fund. And then the next slide just puts it all together. Whoop, back up one. Am I hitting that? Oh, sorry. So our ending fund balance is $2.1 million for fiscal year '24. And any reduction in fund balance will go against that $2.1 million for fiscal year '25 and also in fiscal year '26.
So I'm just looking at the numbers. So that means 2025, if it follows the particular audit that should go through, then we ended 25 positive? Because you'll take that 2.1, 818,000 from that? Is that correct? Am I thinking
Yes, sir.
correctly? Okay.
Absolutely.
And again, that still leaves us,
And
another
that's
million.
talking about book balances. On the next slide, I go into the bank balances.
We're in the deficit.
Okay, which is a totally different set of calculations and numbers. This is money coming in the bank, money going out of the bank, without regard to the beginning fund balance. Okay, so in November, we had deposits of $1.8 million, outflows and other withdrawals of $2.2 million. So that means for the month of November, we were in a deficit of $439,000. The cumulative deficit from last month was $807,000, which brings our cumulative deficit now to $1.2 million. Now, we have been in many conversations with the city finance team and the city treasurer's office, and we are scheduled in January to revisit those conversations. And in the meantime, we're monitoring cash on a daily basis. And the next slide just shows, even though we are at 1.2
I
million at this time.
apologize. Let me just ask a
Oh,
quick
sorry.
question. How does the city feel about the 1.2 million deficit? I mean, because I've been asking every time, you know, are you guys on sync or in sync with what's going on with the finances? And your answer has been yes. And I mean, with this figure here, they're fine with this. I mean,
They are aware of it, and they have elected to meet in January to discuss it based on a full 6 months' worth of data.
I believe that's unreimbursed expenditures mostly for grants, and that happens all the time, every year.
From my understanding, they are aware of it. They are monitoring it. I'm not going to say, from my understanding, they are fine with it, but they are monitoring it. They're making us aware of it. They want everyone to be aware of the situation. And they're gonna, like she said, meet in January to discuss it further, but I do not believe, I'm not gonna say that they are fine with it.
Exactly. Thank you. Next slide. So this is historically where we've been in November. Last year, of course, was capital expenditures. Year 2023, I'm sure we were spending down ESSER funds that hadn't been reimbursed. And before that, we were in COVID. So, any more questions? All right, if we could move on to the vouchers.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
With that number being in a deficit so high, how come it wasn't caught until now? Not now at this moment, because it was made aware a couple of weeks ago, but how come it wasn't caught last month? We kept being told we're on track. How come it's only getting caught now?
Okay, the fiscal year starts July 1st. In the month of July, we had a surplus. Each month since then, I've been presenting the deficit numbers. And we monitor it daily, so we've known, you know, that this was an issue and have presented it to the school board.
That is this high?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we did add 400,000 to it this month. It was 800,000 something last month. Okay. I need to stop touching that. Okay, these are the November vouchers that we paid. The first slide is the cafeteria expenditures that we made for supplies and food. Okay. This is the textbook expenditures, and we follow VDOE's guidance on when the textbooks need to be updated or replaced.
So who determines what textbooks you get? Is that a committee? How do we all determine what's chosen? Is that just VDOE recommendations?
Ms. Tompkins could probably answer better than me.
I can speak to that, but this is my first year with the, following the system. So any textbooks that we purchase on an existing contract that happened before my time. This year, we will be focusing on math, and there will be a committee, but we will start that process in February. So we do have our math curriculum specialist who will go through the process. But we select the books based on the recommendations of the Virginia Department of Education, and then we make our choices based on that pre-approved list.
Next slide, please. This starts the general fund expenditures. And these are the grant fund expenditures that are going to be reimbursed. Questions on vouchers? Okay. If we could pull up the budget calendar, please. This is a second read of our proposed budget calendar, and it is in alignment with VDOE state budgeting timelines as well as the city budgeting timelines. I would like to ask the school board to vote on adopting this formally.
I move that we accept the budget calendar as noted.
I'll second it.
Let's have the vote. Mr. Alsbrook?
Aye.
Kent?
Aye.
Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Aye.
Bob? Reed?
Yes.
Wadia? Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passed.
All right, if I could go to the budget amendment, please. Okay, it's kind of hard to see, but if you can focus in a little bit on the numbers there. So basically, we had budgeted $1.3 million for our new fiscal year 2026 grant allotments. And all of the grants have come back now, and our allocations are $1.7 million. So we are asking the school board to approve a budget amendment to increase our appropriation by $430,343.58 to allow us to accept those grants. There's no additional city money requested, only the appropriation.
I move we approve budget amendment BA 26-004.
I'll second that.
The vote. Mr. Alsbrook?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Holt? Reed?
Yes.
Wadia? Yes. Motion passed.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Now it's time for citizen time. Ms. Ashley Adams. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, school board members. I'm here today as a concerned parent, advocating for my daughter's rights and the rights of all students in FCPS. My 7-year-old daughter was a victim of sexual abuse by a peer at SP Morton Elementary School between October 2024 and March of 2025. Despite my reports to multiple individuals, no action was taken and the abuse continued. The lack of response from school staff was egregious. As mandated reporters, they failed to report the incident. My daughter suffered further trauma as a result. When she returned to school this school year, she was placed in a common lunchroom with a perpetrator, causing her significant distress. I have been met with resistance and deflection when trying to address this issue. No one has taken responsibility. No one has apologized or even attempted to rectify the situation. My daughter has suffered severe mental health consequences, including depression, anxiety, and a suicidal attempt in my kitchen. She has been hospitalized multiple times. I've been threatened with truancy charges for prioritizing her safety because she refuses to go to school where she knows she is not safe. In August, a judge found sufficient evidence to grant a protective order, and the perpetrator apologized in court without denying the allegations. It's clear that action can be taken when there's a will to do so. I demand accountability and action from FCPS. Students have the right to feel safe in school. It is your responsibility as educators and administrators to protect these children. I demand a thorough investigation, consequences for those who failed to act, and measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. Our children deserve so much better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ricks, will you look into that? Will you look into that and get her information? Thank you.
Brandon Lilly?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Last year, SP Morton had a framework score of 66.9, and this year it fell to 64.8. Last year, FHS had a framework score of 80.5, and this year it fell to 79.2. As a reminder, FHS was listed on track last year under Mr. Feltz. In February, Dr. Carter removed Mr. Feltz, which resulted in some immediate resignations, the loss of some teachers in SOL content areas, and a shift in the culture and climate of the building. This data we saw tonight tells me it is most likely, in my opinion, that they misrepresented the data used to remove Mr. Feltz. And stable leadership is the only reason FHS was on track, and SP Morton wasn't. FHS could not, y'all are educated people, could not have had the results you just saw, 79%, just less than a point from being on track. It's not mathematically possible that Dr. Carter told you guys it was in dire straits the way it was, and you almost got on track again. The math doesn't add up, guys. All right? Reading scores at FCPS have declined for 3 consecutive years, going from 48% to 47% to 43%. Math scores at FCPS have declined for 3 consecutive years, going from 35% to 34% to 29%. Ms. Tompkins just said writing is improving, but failed to mention that the scores only improved because the state removed the 8th grade writing test. So she just compared FHS data to combined FHS and JPK data. SP Morton's reading performance shows 36% of the students passed the SOL, which is down from 42% last year. SP Morton's math scores show 21% passed the SOL test, which is down from 22% the previous year. When you apply the new framework, it clearly says SP Morton experienced declines in math, in reading, and significant declines in math and reading growth. The growth numbers shown tonight do not reflect the actual growth students actually achieved in the classroom. The state report shows 42% of the students met or exceeded their growth in reading, and 21 met or exceeded their growth in math. That is not SOL scores. That's the individual growth of each student from their starting point of the year. The majority of kids experienced no growth in either subject. Central office is misrepresenting data to make it seem like they're improving as they decline. If this administration's vision was working, we would actually see it in the elementary school where the younger kids are going through it. The reality is the elementary school continues to decline. And we don't say the VDOE takes over scores anymore, but that happened under your leadership this year. A true leader takes accountability when things are not going well. The community continues to come here to demand change because you can't own your results, admit how bad they are, and tell you what we're going to do to fix it. I close with the statement Dr. Carter made when he removed Mr. Feltz. When it's unacceptable where your performance is, it's unacceptable where you're ranked, and because of those 2 factors, I call on the board to remove Dr. Carter as superintendent next meeting and pursue a new vision because you're not seeing results.
Thank you, Mr. Lilly. Ms. Pam?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Carter and School Board. Once again, I stand before you with major concerns about our children's education in the city of Franklin. Although our students are capable of learning at a high level, the recently released data from the Virginia Department of Education says that they continue to struggle academically at SP Morton Elementary, which sets them up to struggle when they get to Franklin High School. It is unacceptable that the majority of our students cannot read on grade level or have basic math skills needed to excel academically and, more importantly, to survive in life. This is not just an opinion. It is reflected in the performance ratings and the framework scores of both SP Morton and Franklin High School. According to Franklin Public Schools' School Quality Profile and the School Performance and Support Framework on VDOE's website, and Franklin City Public Schools is the only division of its schools in the lowest category. 100% of our schools are in needs-intensive support. Dr. Carter and School Board, this is your legacy. You have officially taken Franklin City Public Schools, once a proud and respected school division, all the way to rock bottom. Dr. Carter and the School Board, as the leaders of our school division, the education of our students is your responsibility. You own this data. Real leaders take accountability. Dr. Carter, you are the division's top educator. The superintendent should be a true leader for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Too often you blame others for our school's challenges and shortcomings, but you are the first to take credit when something positive happens in our area. As someone who has worked in finance for many years, it amazes me how month after month the financial report shows a deficit that grows larger and larger, and we're told not to worry and that it's normal. No, it's not normal to have a $1.2 million deficit. How can you sit there and let us go down the same financial path that we went last year? Finally, we all know that the Freedom of Information Act laws are not being followed by Franklin City Public Schools, even though you were taken to court and you were ordered to do so. This tells us that you have something to hide and that you do not want to share it with us. School board, it's time to take bold leadership like our neighbors have in Southampton County recently with their superintendent. And when we do finally separate from Dr. Carter, please assign an interim superintendent that is not a member of the current administration. We need a fresh perspective, a new leader of Franklin City Public Schools to get us back in the positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Ms. Carolyn Lawrence?
Good evening to all.
Good evening.
I would like to excuse a couple of people that's on your school board because something drastic happened to me before you became on the board. Ms. Bailey, Mr. Grant, and Mr. Albrook. 2023, I was asked to come to the middle school to help out with the discipline along with other admins from other schools. Every afternoon when they left J.P. King, oh, Miss Lawrence, you make everything, oh, it's just so wonderful over here. For some reason, I got accused of taking a coat from a kid, which we had rules in place. I had been there almost 15 years, and I know the rules. If this young person was given permission to wear his coat, a hood in the building, then the whole staff should have received a memo, not just one person. It hurt me. I asked to meet. It's taken me a while because, young lady in the back, I feel your pain with the mental issue because it really hurt me 2 years in a row. I finally got myself together to come up here and speak. I've never taken anything from any kid. If anything I've done, I give it. I don't have to take anything from any child. I got accused of taking a cell phone out of a kid's pocket. If I did that, so help me. And with the other situation, the police would have been up there to escort me out. You putting your hand on somebody. I know the rules and policies. I've been here a long time. That parent would have been highly upset with me because these parents want their kids to have their cell phones. I asked for an investigation of the allegations I got accused of. I wasn't working in September. I finished up the 4th or the 7th at Franklin High School. Worked there 3 days, had 3 great days over there with Mr. Phelps and his staff. Not one problem occurred on that 3rd hall. I got lied on and said I did this and I did that. But yes, when I asked for footage, I can't go back that far. You went that far to write me up. So be honest about what you do. This is my home. I have put everything into Franklin City Public Schools. Basketball coach, coaching these kids from the time I was 15 up until now, and I'm 66. And I asked for footage. We don't have it. When I asked for, can you send me some results of the allegation? Oh, you worked here for so many years and everything, Ms. Lawrence, you did a great job. But yet, as of today, I have not received anything about the allegations that I got accused of because it didn't happen. I know me. My heart goes into these kids, and when I see them yesterday at the games, when are you coming back? It's so sad. I have 38 years in education, and I'm banned from going into school being a sub. I can't volunteer. I can't do anything. So I got treated like a criminal. I really did, and this is embarrassing to me. And I really thought you came here, Dr. Carter. I really did in the beginning. I really thought you came here to make some changes or add on to what we already had in place. I'm done, I'm finished, and I'm really disappointed.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Any announcements, presentations, or comments from the board? Mr. Alsbrook,
I'd like to make a comment.
please.
I want to be clear with the public. I am deeply dissatisfied with where Franklin City Public Schools stands today, and I'm equally dissatisfied with how this board has exercised its responsibility to hold leadership accountable for student outcomes. For too long, we have allowed compliance labels, particularly accreditation status, to be used as a substitute for honest discussion about academic performance. This is misleading and it does a disservice to our students and their families. Under Virginia's accountability system, a school can be fully accredited while still failing students academically. This is not opinion, it is state policy. Accreditation reflects operational compliance, not academic success. The actual accountability data tells a far more troubling story. Multiple Franklin City schools are designated as need intensive support under the Virginia Department of Educational Schools Performance and Support Framework. That designation is reserved for schools with significant and persistent deficiency in academic growth, readiness, and attendance, with claims of improvement, effective leadership, or turnaround. We are failing too many of our students. Academic growth is insufficient. Achievement remains low. Gaps continue to persist. And when compared regionally, Franklin City Schools ranks near the bottom across key indicators. These outcomes did not happen overnight, and they cannot be explained away by selective data or shifting narratives. As a board, we have failed to insist on stability and honesty in leadership decisions. Over the past year, our division has experienced repeated administrative turnover, loss of certified staff, and a disruption at the building level. These decisions were justified publicly using accountability data that was incomplete, lagging, or inaccurately framed. Substantial state data has made clear that challenges we face are systematic and long-standing, not the result of isolated failures by individual principals. Stay with me, I'm almost done. This matters because poor governance decisions compound academic decline. Instability does not improve struggling schools. It accelerates failure and continues to accelerate the failure. When leadership decisions are made without full transparency or accurate context, students ultimately pay the price. I am concerned that our current incentive structure no longer aligns with the student outcomes, rewarding accreditation status while state accountability matrix document academic failure. It creates a disconnect between what we value and what we actually measure. That undermines the public trust and it weakens our accountability across our division. The role of this school board is not to defend narratives or shield leadership from scrutiny. Our role is to govern, to demand results, to ask hard questions, and to act when the data shows persistent failure. That includes holding individuals accountable across the division when their decisions and leadership do not align with improved student outcomes. We have the authority to require corrective action, independent academic review, transparent public reporting, and leadership accountability tied directly to measurable improvement. These are not extreme measures. They are the minimum responsibility of this board that's serious about its duty to its students. Accreditation labels cannot be allowed to obscure academic reality. Continued inaction does not preserve stability in our district. It ratifies and continues to ratify failure. Our students deserve better, and this board must do better by insisting on honesty, accountability, and a relentless focus on student learning across the district.
Thank you. Mr. Grant? Okay. Ms. Walker? Bob? Reed? I just want to say thank you to the community for working with me tonight, as I'm usually not up here leading these sessions, and thank you for the board assisting me, and everyone who spoke during citizens' time. Your words have not fallen on deaf ears or not understanding ears. And now it is time to adjourn.
I move for adjournment.
I'll second it.
Aye.
Salzberg. Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Reed? Ms. Bailey? Meeting adjourned.